Hello, my name is Lucy Cooke and I'm the founder and CEO of SpaceDraft. SpaceDraft is a software company that I invented. I'm from a farm in the West Australian wheat belt, lots of wheat and sheep. So how does a girl from a farm invent a software company valued at millions of dollars? Well, all I had to start with was my imagination. So you can too. On my farm, my dad would communicate to my brothers and I using a stick. And he would draw a map of the farm in the dirt with a stick. He'd say, all right, Luce, this is the farm. Here is you. Here are your brothers. You need to move this mob of sheep from here to here, and it's going to take you 5 hours. And he'd draw that in the dirt. And that was the plan. And then when the plan changed, he'd wipe it out with his feet and make a new plan. And that's what we did on the farm. So I took that logic and applied it to the theatre. I always loved movies and I always loved acting. I'm sure there's some of you in the audience here watching this today who want to be actors too. And that's really cool because acting's really, really fun. So I started acting and I remembered, oh my goodness, moving around on a stage is just like moving around on the farm. But instead of sheep, you've got other actors, which is way more fun. So I went to VCA in Melbourne, Victorian College of Arts, and I studied acting. After a couple of gigs, I realized maybe this isn't for me. I'm really curious about people though, so I studied behavioural science. Now, when I studied behavioural science, I realized that people are just characters. We're all different and we're all moving around in space and time. So after I finished studying behavioural science, I then went to WAPA, which is the WA Academy of Performing Arts, and I studied producing. Because I thought, well, I'm pretty organised, I kind of understand people, so why can't I boss people around on movie sets? So then while I was at WAPA, I met a lot of really talented creative people. Now, organising film sets is just like herding sheep. What you're doing is you're always trying to hope that someone's in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. So I was a pretty good producer. And I met this guy who said, Luce, I think you're really good at this. You're really good at hustling. So I need you to work on this movie. And then someone else said, I need you to work on this movie. And someone else said, I need you to work on this movie. And then all of a sudden, I'm in Hollywood for 10 years, working with Mel Gibson, Vince Vaughn, Andrew Garfield, and all the crazy, amazing celebrities in Hollywood. Now, I'm on film sets in New Mexico at this time. This is about 2016, and there's a car chase. The movie's called Soldado Sicario, and there's this crazy car chase, and the car has to blow up. I'm standing on the film set and I'm looking out, and I know that the car is about to blow up in the wrong spot, and it's going to cost the production $4 million. So I reach for my radio to tell everyone, stop, the car's about to blow up in the wrong spot. And I reach for my radio and my radio is dead. So I can't communicate fast enough to everyone that needs to know this new information. I wished at that moment that I was on the farm with my dad and I could quickly draw the picture of the new scenario of what was meant to happen. And that's when I kind of thought, why isn't there a software that can help people visualize scenarios? Why isn't there a tool that I can use to help people see a new plan for a new scenario and a new space? So I started looking for this tool. And at the time, I'm working on Game of Thrones. And even on Game of Thrones, they didn't have a software to help explain scenarios of where all the scary dragons are meant to land. So I thought, why don't I have a go at building this? Now, I had no software experience, but I was pretty good at computers. So I came back to Perth from LA and I met Witwer. And I met these amazing women who knew how to make software, who had worked on software companies. So I started meeting them for coffee. Now, I didn't have a lot of money, so I'd go to their house. And I started learning from these amazing women who worked in software companies how to make a software. And then I started meeting amazing people through Witwer who were really good accountants, really good lawyers, really good engineers. And I started connecting all the dots myself. So if I needed to learn about legal, I'd call Witwer. If I needed to learn about raising money, I'd call Witwer. And soon enough, all of a sudden, I've got this army of support to help me raise $17,000 to build my first prototype. Now, I'm very proud of this prototype because it shows the beginning of where this company came from. This is a prototype. It's not very complicated. It's just pictures. But it cost $17,000 to get these ideas out of my head, because it's all very well having an idea, but explaining it is the hard part. My vision was that anyone could explain their imagination for any scenario using SpaceDraft. That prototype, it was enough to show that I was really serious about building this software. It was enough for me to apply to accelerator programs. It was enough to try and get people to believe in my vision. So it's all really, really important to get a prototype of your idea first. That's rule 1 in building a startup. Create a prototype. Second rule, evolve that prototype and create another version which is better than your first version. Third step, make people pay for it. So it took me 2 years of pitching. And at the time, I'm waitressing. I'm working in cafes, I'm working in coffee shops because I wanted to spend most of my time trying to get people to believe in my vision for SpaceDraft. So finally, after thousands of pitches, I met Curtin University and they said, oh my goodness, can we use this tool to design video games? Yes. Oh my goodness, can we use this tool to design movie projects? Yes. Can we use this to design VR and AR? Yes. Can we use SpaceDraft to explain events? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. All of a sudden, we were in business. Our first check, our turning point, was when Curtin University paid us $2,000 to use SpaceDraft. That meant someone was willing to pay for this. And we were in business. Now, this is 2019. Then a little thing called COVID happened. And all of a sudden, I can't pitch all the time in person to people. So I'm on Zoom pretty much 24/7, pitching, sharing, showing as often as I can. I do a program called Springboard, which is great to help women in tech make more money in tech. And then I raised $1.2 million. With that $1.2 million, I built my development team and I kept iterating the product while pitching. Pitch, 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 all the time. And then we had more customers, which showed that there were more people willing to pay for SpaceDraft. So then I raised another $1.5 million and built out the team, and then we are go. So it's a real privilege to be able to be here with you virtually to introduce you to SpaceDraft. Now, the wonderful Witwer team will help you log in. All you have to do is go to spacedraft.com, sign up for free, enter your school email, and you can start building your imagination to life. I hope you have a great time. I've had a great time building this software company. It's taken a long time, but it's worth it. Because if you have fun today and help explain your imagination, then I've done my job. So welcome to the SpaceDraft activity. Now, what do all stories have in common? Who, what, when, where, why, and how? All stories happen somewhere. They take place in a world. That's why SpaceDraft's called SpaceDraft, because it's about world building, drafting space, telling stories about spaces over time. Have you ever tried to explain to your mum how you're going to get home from school? Have you ever tried to explain to a friend how to get to the party? Have you ever tried to explain how you're going to get from A to B? That's what SpaceDraft does. Now in this activity, you're going to learn how to make a SpaceDraft too. So, there are 3 boxes that you're going to pick from. One says time, one says space, and one says action. Now, if I choose one of these words here, I'm choosing future. If I choose one of these words here, I'm choosing park. If I choose one of these words here, I'm going to choose invasion. So my SpaceDraft today is about an invasion set in the future at a park. Okay, let's go. In SpaceDraft, there are only 3 things you need to remember. Set a background to explain your story. Add characters, voices, objects and sounds to tell your story. Then add movement to bring your story to life. Now in SpaceDraft, all you need to do is go down to the bottom left where there's sound and movement. That's how you make your pins move. And in the top right, there's a share button. That's how you can invite your friends to collaborate with you on your story. So someone can write the story, someone can add the sound, and someone can add the movement and bring it to life. Now we've had SpaceDrafts that have gone on to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've had SpaceDrafts created that have changed lives. We've had SpaceDrafts created that have helped kids explain to their parents why they want to go to uni. You're getting access to SpaceDraft today so that you can never be misunderstood again. By getting SpaceDraft today, you're learning how to better explain your imagination so that you can design video games or explain how you're going to get to the moon. The opportunities are endless, but that's why Whitwa's brought SpaceDraft to you today, so you can have another tool in your belt to explain why you can solve this problem, whatever that may be. So now, it's the fun part. You're going to go to spacedraft.com, click sign up for free, enter in your school email, create a password and verify it. Now you're in the system. Now it's about building out your imagination. Set a background, upload a map, design your own background, then add pictures, sounds and objects, then right click to make them move around. And trust me, it's really, really fun. Then go up to share in the top right corner. You can invite collaborators, you can print your SpaceDraft, or you could submit it to your teacher and get an A+ for any subject at your school. If you go up to the top right, there's a drop down and you can click on inspiration. There are hundreds of SpaceDrafts there that other students have built and other teachers have made. So please check that out too. We've had over 80,000 students on SpaceDraft now, so it's pretty solid. And I know you'll have a great time. If you do get stuck, go to the knowledge base on the website. So spacedraft.com, there's a knowledge base with thousands of videos to explain how to do stuff. Or you can go on SpaceDraft YouTube, easy. Otherwise, you can ask some of your Whitwa facilitators, how do I do this? How do I speed up and slow this down? How do I stop it spinning? We've had so much help to try and make this tool as intuitive as possible. So the chances are your question has been asked by another student and your facilitators will have the answer. Now, of course, you can go onto the Whitwa website and go to the careers advisory page. That's where you can find out more about what Whitwa has to offer, but then of course you can ask them to get access to SpaceDraft for your school if you want an account, and we'll work out a pretty special discount for you too. The world's changed a lot. It doesn't really matter how smart you are, it really does matter how creative you feel. If you're feeling creative, you're more inspired to solve problems. We know that we built this tool so that you can have more success in the future, getting into the workforce, bringing your creativity alive. I'm really grateful that WIT was brought SpaceDraft to you today, that you've met me virtually. And I really am so excited about the SpaceDrafts that you're going to create together to explain your imagination and how you're going to solve problems of the future. So thank you, keep making magic, and keep your dreams alive.